One-year-old Sean Carmeli was from South Padre Island, Texas, and like many Texans, played football in high school and rooted for the Cowboys. But unlike most Texans, Carmeli, who's Jewish, joined the Israeli army. Sunday, Sergeant Carmeli and fellow American Max Steinberg were among 13 Israeli soldiers killed in Gaza. Announcing Carmeli's death, Israel Defense Forces identified him as a lone soldier. That's a term used to refer to troops whose parents don't live in Israel. Fearing his death would go unnoticed and his burial unattended, friends took to social media. "We don't want his funeral to be empty," they wrote. "Let's give one last honor to this hero who died so that we could live." It was an emotional appeal for people to attend. They did. An estimated 20,000 people packed the streets of the northern city of Haifa despite the hour of 11 o'clock at night. Some had driven hours, only to walk miles as parking spaces filled.
7-story block, 22 flats, 160 people. One had a phone call saying, "You've got 3 minutes to get everybody out." They ran, and all they've got left now is what they're wearing.
We've heard so many airstrikes today, all around us, all the time. A drone hit a house as we were driving down an adjacent street about an hour ago. It was very loud and very frightening. The Palestinians in Gaza live with that fear all the time. A Palestinian friend of mine called Adim is staying with her 2 tiny children and her parents in a house just south of Gaza City. It's about half a mile from the Israeli border. And for days now, they've been pinned down under incessant shell fire. They're carrying in a corridor and running out of food and water. We've been in constant touch, but I'm going to call her now. Adim, it's Jonathan.
Last night, Jonathan, it was the worst and the longest in my life. The shelling started at like midnight and it kept going on till maybe 9 a.m. It was really, really heavy shelling, like non-stop, continuous. And you know what's really like every night I sleep and I say, oh my God, maybe this is the last time I see the faces of my babies, or maybe this is the last minute I hug him. You want to survive, but you know that maybe the next minute you are gone. I really wonder, the Israeli soldier who's behind the tank and who shells Gaza every second. I really wonder, doesn't he have kids? Doesn't he have normal life, family? Like doesn't he think about us as if we are equals to him? We are exactly equal to him. We need a ceasefire.
Adim sent me these pictures of shards of tank shell shrapnel that landed on their house, which is now surrounded by Israeli tanks and snipers. "I don't know how we're still alive," she said. Not far away from her, people were fleeing the sprawling refugee camp of Khan Yunis after deadly drone strikes and shelling there.
They destroyed the house that collapsed on my brother, his wife and their kids, all of them. And this happens every night. They hit the entire neighborhood and we don't know how we can live like this. This is a miserable life. This is not life.
At the hospital, mutilated bodies fill the morgue.
Israeli soldiers have been on the road since last night. The ambulances and the Red Cross couldn't get the injured. The army moved back, and these young men needed someone to get them. But whoever goes to help them gets shot.
Most were strangers, all had to be there. There is no doubt that we would come and show our support, this man says. There is no such thing as a lone soldier in this country, says this man. We are all with each other. So many people came, the soldiers from Carmeli's unit had to struggle through them to carry his casket to the military cemetery. In a country no stranger to sacrifice, Carmeli's story.
Broadcast this distressing footage filmed by Palestinian rights activists. A man who's looking for injured members of his family in Shujaiyeh is shot at, apparently by an Israeli sniper. As he lies there, he takes a second direct hit. At this point, we freeze frame. The third shot kills the man.
He took another shot.
Other rescue workers are unable to even reach him. The dead man's name was Salem Shammaly. We tracked down his cousin, who said that he and Salem's parents and sisters found out about his death on social media when the video went viral.
They called the ambulances, and ambulances reached the area. And after that, the Israeli fired the ambulance also.
And where is Salem's body now? Is it still there?
Still there in the same place for 3 days almost.
Why can they not get him?
Because the Israeli announced that it's a restricted area and no one can access to this area.
A young man from the Lone Star State who died fighting for the Star of David. Martin Savidge, CNN, Jerusalem. 21.
As the UN Human Rights Chief said that Israel's failure to protect civilians could amount to war crimes, clashes have broken out in the Israeli-occupied territories on the West Bank. It feels like a spark has now been lit which may not easily be extinguished. Israel's intent to crush Palestinian resistance met by determination not to be subdued.